And if my judges are all ready, I'm ready. All right, let's begin. One summer, my mom decided that our garage was, well, to put it nicely, not in the best condition. There was leaves everywhere, spider webs, trash. It was, well, yeah, not the best. And we decided, well, why don't we just fix it? So for about a month or two, we set to work getting some epoxy and resin and all these different little things to put on the garage floor to fix it up. We took everything out of our garage. We had to clean it all up. We put up new shelves, and it was a very, very long and tedious process. But in the end, if you look at our garage, it might still be messy, but it's better. And I think we can see this applied to our lives. Sometimes we can see how our lives might be messy, not in the best condition, but if we put to work to restore what might be missing in our lives, or what's causing it to be a little messy, and if we trust God, we can see that in our lives we will experience restoration. Now this is the topic I chose for today, restoration. And we'll look at this topic through 3 points. How we can see it physically, mentally, and spiritually. How it affects our lives in all 3 of these ways. So let's get straight into my first point of how we can see this physically. During COVID, our family got, well, the coronavirus, and it wasn't the best. You see, my brother and my dad were doing pretty well. They had the symptoms, but they were staying strong. And my mom, well, she got a little sick. It was hard for her to breathe, and it was getting tough for us to help her with these things. So we had to take her to the ER, and we got a breathing machine, and we just trusted God and prayed. Now, in this time of our lives, we experienced much pain through the family. All around us, people were sick, we couldn't go out, and it sort of seemed like we were trapped, and we weren't in the best position. It was felt like our lives needed some restoration because we were in this place, in this situation, all trapped. But when we looked to God and we trusted Him, we experienced this restoration. My mom is now healthy after these trials, and our family is better. But if you look back, we can see how much in our lives, all of us have experienced some sort of physical pain. But we can get through it, even if it's the little pain. Like for me, braces wasn't the best, but I experienced a lot of restoration, going through the pain and trials. In the end, I found a better result. Now, this brings me to my second point of how we can see this mentally. Now, I was researching once, and I found that in UK, in about 2017, I believe, over 5,000 people under the age of 30 were depressed, and many of them had committed suicide due to this depression. And if we look at our world in this day and age, we see so much about mental health and depression and how it's ruining our lives and putting us in this place where we can't handle anything anymore. But if we look around us, and like I said, just trust God, He will bring us out of the messy situation we're in. I know it is so easy to feel anxious. Sometimes I just have too much work and it's not, well, manageable in some terms, and I freak out. But if I just take a moment and breathe, it makes things a lot better. Because amidst all of the fear and anxiety, I feel restoration of peace in my life that, well, has not been there before, because I trusted God to help me. Now this moves me to my third point of how we can see this spiritually. Now, if you notice throughout my speech, I mentioned the theme of trusting God. And this is because, well, if we look at Ephesians 2, it also shows us how we are spiritually dead, but God restores us. And He gives us new life, and we experience this restoration. And it will be hard, because through our life, we will experience so many trials. But James 1:12 is an amazing verse that I love to always look back at. It says, quote, "Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial. For when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love Him." If you remain steadfast, and if you're in a trapped situation and you feel like you can't do anything, look to God, because He gives us restoration that we can see in our lives physically, mentally, and spiritually. Whether we're in pain, we can't deal with the things going on around us, or we're just going through a tough time. God gives us restoration. And when we trust him, as James 1:12 promised, we will receive the crown of